Absolutely.
Just leave them old women on the shelf. He likes the younger ones, he's telling himself. Women his age remind him of Nicole. Tom Cruise doesn't like them old.
No.
Did you see Tom Cruise on Oprah? Jumped on the couch and rolled out on the floor.
You fairy.
In 2 minutes I ran for the door. 'Cause that dude is crazy for show. Tom Cruise is getting kind of old. And now he's gonna marry Katie Holmes. She was a baby when he married Nicole. Tom Cruise doesn't like her old. Now Tom is gonna marry Katie Holmes. And Scientology will save her soul. He's gonna keep her under cruise control. 'Cause Tom Cruise doesn't like her old. Tom Cruise is getting kind of old.
Yeah, he's getting kind of old, all right. Old and stale and moldy. Anyway, let's just do it before we do the British stuff. We got the BBC here, by the way. You got it there, Miguel?
I wouldn't know where to find it.
Is at the moment that we need to give. The first is to stay where you are.
Okay. I'm not going nowhere. Stay in
right
and
there.
crawl under the bed. 1,072 votes on Georgia's poll yesterday. How do you feel about the city being shut down for movie or TV productions? What kind of a poll was that?
They shut
I guess
down 95.
desperate. Huh?
They shut down 95.
Yeah, but I mean, what kind of a poll is that, George? George is out sick today because God is punishing him for yesterday's poll. Great, as long as it doesn't affect me, 504. Bunch of selfish, typical South Florida response. Selfish, selfish, selfish. Me, 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 me. That's all they care about is me, me, me. That's right. You tell them, Mo. No Mo this week, by the way. No Mo. It's unacceptable shutting down the city of 281. Unacceptable. Unbelievable. I'm all for it. It's good for the city, 189. Fine as long as it's for a good movie or TV show, 98. But if it's for a bad movie or TV show, let's kill somebody just to show everybody how PO'd we are. How pissed off we are. Anyway, so London is rocked by explosions, as you know, in the Tube. 4 explosions in London's transport system have killed at least 2 people, wounded dozens more in what UK Prime Minister Tony Blair said was an apparent terrorist attack. No kidding, Tony. Man, is he on top of it or what? I want to apologize to Miguel right off the bat because we only have a 2.5-hour show today. We got the Marlin pregame show at 12:30, so I'm going to be reading lots and lots of bedtime stories the whole time, as a matter of fact. The only calls we're going to take is if they want to add some names to our list for the poll today. Which the poll is, and I figure it's vacation time, right? Most people are going on their vacations now. So a word of warning, a little word of warning to you. Okay, that's what we're trying to do. Don't go to any of these places which people hate like poison. A vacation place I visited but would never go back to, and I mean never, ever. Of course, I voted for Niagara Falls because I had a really bad experience this last time, lost my ass, and it's just a one-way street. You know what it's like? It's like taking your money and pouring it into like a vacuum, and it's never going to come out again. You know how when you go to the bank through the drive-thru, and they have that tube that you put your deposit in, and you put it in that thing, and you kind of wonder, where does it really go so that it winds up inside the bank? Have you ever wondered about that?
No, not really.
You have never wondered about that?
You know where it goes.
It goes through some kind of a tube, and it winds up inside with a cashier in there. But anyway, it's the same thing when you go to Niagara Falls. You just put your money, stick it in there, and it just disappears. Oh, there's Tony Blair.
Our thoughts and prayers, of course, are with the victims and their families.
And there was this response.
Yeah, isn't it sad that all these poor innocent Brits are dying because Tony Blair just got, he went right along, just the quizzling that he is with Bush with this illegal war. You know damn well, as sure as I'm sitting with my fat ass right here, that if they wouldn't have gone into Iraq, that these people would still be alive today. At least 40 dead already. Anyway, our poll today, vacation place you visited but would never go back, Detroit 22. Excellent choice. Do not go anywhere near there. Don't go to Detroit. I mean, we can play those CKLW Motown jingles and reminisce about how great it used to be back in the day before they burned half the city down. Do not go to Detroit. Do not think about going there. Don't drive within, a long ways.
It'll be packed next week.
For what?
The All-Star game.
Is in Detroit?
Yes, sir.
Holy crap, Rat Man. That's bad. Los Angeles 19. That's another excellent choice. Used to be a great... Oh, man, it was... I can't even put into words how exciting it was. It was vibrant. It was great. And now, of course, all the signs are like in some Oriental language. I don't know what happened there. L.A. plus crime, man. It's the only city I've ever been in my life where the scent of crime, the fear, the feeling of fear. Just crossing the street at 2 in the afternoon, you feel like somebody's going to mug you. L.A. 19. Niagara Falls 12. Do not go there. It's a clip joint. Paris 6. Too many French. Las Vegas 5. London 3. Especially now after what happened in the this morning. Hamburg 2. Yeah, don't go there. If you want to go to Germany, go to Berlin. Go to Cologne. Go to somewhere. Do not go to Hamburg. It's boring. And Copenhagen, none. Which indicates to me that either none of you have ever been there or El Presidente was just there. Oh, there he is.
Heartfelt condolences.
Yeah, oh boy. Did you see when Blair was making the clip, when he was making the original statement, and they had all the Chirac was standing behind him and the other, and Bush was there? Looked like a fish out of water. He looked like he was in Madame Tussauds, like he was in a wax museum. Stiff as a board. Anyway, a previously unknown group calling itself the Group of Al-Qaeda of Jihad Organization in Europe League claimed the blast, posting a statement on an Islamist website a few hours after the explosions. The claim could not be independently verified. More fatalities were sure to follow, it says. Emergency services personnel told CNN that a rescue operation at King's Cross Station had successfully evacuated all survivors, leaving dead below ground in the double digits. One worker said he'd removed several bodies from the train. At least 13 remained there. The fire brigade has now left the station. It was now a crime scene. U.S. law enforcement sources said the British government has said at least 40 people are dead in the British this morning. Terrorist attacks. And like I said, innocent people dying because their leaders are crazy people. And, I went through all the effort. Did George, well, you wouldn't know it. I wonder if George plugged that thing yesterday about the world according to Bush on our website.
Don't know.
My timing is so bad. I mean, everybody's out of town. There's nobody around. We just had to drop the beaded curtain because the fascists changed the law. We can't have any nude pictures on there unless we got their shoe size and birth date and a specimen of their stool. We can't do anything. And so now that our website is like basically, nobody's paying any attention to it, we have the most important thing I've ever put on there. How many people do you think read that and watched it?
About 30, man.
Yeah. So anyway, in line with what happened in London, the Homeland Security Department asked authorities in major cities today for heightened vigilance of major transportation systems after that series of explosions. Department spokesman Brian Rohrkasse, sounds like a street in Germany, doesn't it? Brian Rohrkasse said, however, there were no immediate plans to raise the nation's threat level. We don't have any intelligence, he could have put the period there, indicating this type of attack is planned in the U.S., The Homeland Security Department asked authorities in major cities for continued vigilance of their transportation systems. In the nation's capital, bomb-sniffing dogs and armed police officers were patrolling subways and buses and looking for anything suspicious. Passengers were being urged to report any suspicious activity. About 1.2 million people a day ride Washington's buses and trains. A police helicopter repeatedly circled the RFK Stadium area, a major transportation hub with several bus stops and large commuter parking lots. Other major cities also heightened security on transit systems like L.A., Chicago, Cleveland, etc. and so on. There's another place you don't want to go, although I can't imagine anybody going on vacation here. Cleveland. Don't go there. Guess who died? You see who died?
Who died? And
you'll have no idea who it was anyway, with the tremendous worldly brain that you got. By the way, Duff is running the board today. Nice going, Duff.
Thanks.
Well, that's because George is homesick, and Josh is doing more important stuff. He's baseballing it today. He's balling it today with the Marlins. So we're like an afterthought, as usual, Whatever we got around, we got the operations manager sitting there running the board. A high-paid guy like this, and he's running the board in this major market radio station. At least we used to be, anyway. We used to be so damn good, James Stockdale is dead, 81. He's the one who said, "Who am I? And what am I doing here?" Remember that? And we have the cart there somewhere, but of course Miguel can't read English, so.
¿Cómo?
James B. Stockdale, 81, a retired Navy vice admiral, teacher, and thinker whose heroism in Vietnamese captivity won him the Medal of Honor and later ran for vice president, died July 5th. Now, how do you like that? He died on, what day was that? Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
The same day my mother died last year. You think there's an omen there? At his home in Colorado, although she was 91, he was only 81. A statement released by the Navy said he'd been suffering from Alzheimer's disease. This was the guy who was running for vice president. No wonder he was saying, "Who am I?" Embodying the virtues of both warrior and philosopher, Admiral Stockdale, an aviator, credited the tens of Epictetus. Can we say that? Better check with Joyce. Epictetus, one of the ancient Stoics, with helping him survive 7.5 years of abuse as the highest-ranking U.S. Navy officer to be held captive in Vietnam. And now he's dead. So we don't really care who am I or whatever. Okay, all I want to say is let's get this over. That's what I want to say. Let's just zip right through it and get it over, don't you think? I think that's a good plan. What are these pain-in-the-ass faxes? Oh, Jamaica. Well, that'll teach you to go there in the first place, okay? What'd you go there for?
Yeah, man.
Crazy or what? Get Jamaica on the pool. Are you putting stuff on there or what?
Oh, I got to figure that out. Okay.
You know, I don't want to say that we're kind of like an afterthought today, but with Joshua Baseball on it, who's putting the bedtime stories on our website today? Is anybody working on that?
Well, I'm sure he's doing that from over there.
Get out of here. Your mama.
Man.
Jamaica. All these people I keep on it. Oh, and I saw Silence of the Lambs last night. It was on cable, and I just couldn't shut it off. And I had never realized before, because I didn't pay that much attention, at the end of the movie, when he calls Jodie Foster, you know, she gets the phone call.
Okay.
And she goes, Doctor, long after he hangs up and the dial tone is on there, and it's kind of like this. Dr. Lecter. Yeah, and she keeps saying it. The dial tone is blasting in her ear there. But anyway, you see him, he puts on that funky hat, and he's got a silly-ass wig on it, kind of like the one Mo used to wear. And he wanders, and he leaves, they speed up the motion. They put the motion in his casket or something, and he's walking through this village, and it's obviously a Caribbean place. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It's like either Haiti or one of the islands.
Right.
You already seen that? You paid that attention to that?
Yeah, you can.
And that's where he kind of like lost himself in the middle of that crowd. You'd think he'd be a little bit conspicuous in the middle. So Jamaica will get on there as soon as Miguel figures out how to do that. Also, it says one here. Hopefully you can answer this. I live in Washington, D.C., in Palm Beach County, and want to buy a satellite radio. Is Neil Rogers available now or via satellite?
No.
And if so, why do you have to buy a satellite radio when you can hear it right on your website, on our website, somebody's website, right?
Keep going.
If he is not on satellite feed, will this be happening in the future?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
And all I have to go is buy is your website. I don't see anything there.
No.
Well, if you're on our website, why don't you listen on our website, Rooney? And then he's got like phone numbers, and I'm sure Duff will call you during the break and give you some advice. Tell you where to go. He's looking on our website. Just click on where it says "Listen to the show," Rooney, or whatever the hell your name is.
Rodney.
Mickey, whatever it is. Mickey Rooney. Good God Almighty. No, I'm not going to be on satellite radio because the Beasley's pissed off Howard Stern. That's number one. And number two, my agent is who she is. Hey, Norma.
You fairy.
1013 at 560 WQAM. Hey.
Neil Rogers got.
Live Aid creator Bob Geldof announces his most ambitious charity super concert ever. It's One Hit Wonder Aid. More than 50 bands will take the stage to raise money for themselves. Among those scheduled to appear, Dexy's Midnight Runners and Without Hats, Taco, Crash Test Dummy, Meredith Brooks, Steve Light, and Tommy Tuto. All proceeds from One Hit Wonder Aid go directly to those who desperately need it, like Kajagoogoo, Thomas Dolby, the Baha Men, Lou Vega, Modern English, and Katrina and the Waves. These one-hit wonders wonder where their next meal is coming from. And now you can help. The Proclaimers, the Divinals, Vandal Ballet, the Vapor, Mikey Goes to Hollywood, and Rico Suave himself, Gerardo. One-hit wonder aid. It's about music. It's about compassion. It's about helping Vanilla Ice find a new refrigerator box to chill in.
And I guarantee it'll help just as many people in Africa as Bob Geldof did with that whole silly-ass thing over the weekend. Do you think any people are eating right now who weren't eating before Saturday?
Sure.
In Africa? I think I'm talking into a Cube, is what I think.
Yeah, it sounded like that to me, too.
No, that's okay. You wouldn't know from Africa. There's no Cubans there. Well, actually, there are. In fact, maybe Castro wants to go back into Angola again and have a little fun. Well, speaking of Africa, and it's too bad George isn't here today. George is sick, okay? He's got the Joyces today. Circumcision may offer Africa AIDS hope. Procedure linked to much lower rate of new HIV infections. Let me read that headline again. Circumcision may offer Africa AIDS hope. The procedure is linked to much lower rate of new HIV infections. French and South African AIDS researchers have called an early halt to a study of adult male circumcision to reduce HIV infection after initial results reportedly showed that men who had the procedure dramatically lowered their risk of contracting the virus. How do you like that, all you uncircumcised slobs? Huh? God, no wonder the world is in the shape it's in today, with all that foreskin hanging around. The study's preliminary results, disclosed Tuesday by the Wall Street Journal, show that circumcision reduced the risk of contacting HIV by 70%. A level of protection far better than the 30% risk
About 30, man.
set as a target for an AIDS vaccine. According to the newspaper account, the study underway in Orange Farm Township, South Africa, was stopped because the results were so favorable. It was deemed unethical to continue. See, I was going to say don't go to the Bahamas or Jamaica or any place in the Caribbean unless you're black. But even black people, like African Americans, they don't want to go there either. You want to know why?
Why?
Because just like you Julios, they all hate each other. The Jamaicans hate American blacks, and the Haitians hate the Jamaicans, and that whole deal, right?
Okay.
It happens to be true. I'm just telling you right now. Okay, so why anybody wants to go to those places? I mean, if you're Jamaican, go to Jamaica, man. Have roll up the newspaper, have a good smoke. But other than that, forget about it. And the Bahamas, oh brother. Now let's see, we probably have some spot. Like I said, I love the Bahamas.
Yeah, we love the Bahamas.
That's paradise, you know. Because I'm sure we got some spots on the air for them. So whatever we got, we love the Bahamas. We just can't wait to go back. Anyway, getting back to this, according to the newspaper accounts, the study was stopped because the results were so favorable. It was deemed unethical to continue the trial after an early peek at data showed that the uncircumcised men were so much more likely to become infected. So in other words, they were doing this study, and it turned out to be so lopsided that they figured, this is embarrassing. All of the men in the study had been followed for a year, and half the men had been followed for the full 20 months called for in the original study design, according to the Wall Street Journal. Begun in August 2002, the experiment is one of 3 closely watched clinical trials in Africa to determine whether there is scientific merit to nearly 3 dozen less rigorously controlled studies showing that circumcised men were much less likely to become HIV positive. How do you like that? So instead of having all those songs up there on Saturday and the weekend, they should have just brought a mohel up there on the stage with a sharp knife. And said we're going to have like 10,000 guys like this. We're going to put them on a banana boat and send them over to Africa and chop everybody off a little bit. That's right. George would be having a nervous breakdown about that because, he defends the indefensible. I can't help it if he's like barbaric and got that stuff hanging down there, Just the way it is. Okay, maybe now this crowd, I wasn't going to take a lot of calls because we got, here's the lineup, such as it is. We got Marlins on deck at 12:30 today. The Brewers in town, man. The Marlins pulled one out last night. Late into the, 12th inning?
Yep.
They pulled it out, went in down. Brewers, it would have been embarrassing to lose to them again. But the Brewers will be there 1:05 this afternoon. I bet you they'll have one hell of a crowd there today. On a Thursday afternoon. And then Mad Dog follows the baseball game. Curtis and Troy, which rhymes with at 7 tonight, followed by the Ed Kaplan Show at 10. That's our award-winning QM lineup, such as it is. But anyway, I bet you that we got a whole bunch of more cities and places that people have visited that they would never go back to if they gave them like $1,000 spending money or whatever. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Just wanted to tell him that the last scene of Silence of the Lambs, he's in Bimini.
Oh, it's in Bimini. Well, I told you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's in Bimini.
Okay, thanks. He's in Bimini. How did he know that? Maybe recognize some of the people there. Or are we supposed to know that?
Maybe it's in the credits.
Oh, I doubt it. Or maybe he just made it up.
Well, in the special thanks there at the
WQAM, hello, that's true.
Hey,
QAM.
how you doing?
Bimini Radio, yes, sir.
Hi, Uncle Neil.
How you been?
That bedtime story you just read about circumcision is interesting. Do you think there's any correlation between the question I'm asking, is it more difficult to put a condom on an uncircumcised member? Is there any relationship there, do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what, this afternoon I'll go out and do some experimentation and find out for you. 5670560, I'll do my personal research, and pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless line. I wouldn't waste my time if George were there, but this whole business about foreskin, I realize that in Europe and most places you go in the world, that most of the men, the overwhelming majority of men are not circumcised. One good thing the Catholic Church did, which I can't say too many, but one good thing they did was they stole that idea from the Jews, and the Muslims. Although, I don't know. I wouldn't ask Miguel because he would know, and I certainly wouldn't ask anybody else.
You fairy.
WQAM, hello.
Hey, Duff, you fairy.
It's good to have fans.
Oh, man, am I psychic or what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. WQAM, hello.
Neil God.
Yes, sir. Speaking.
I'm so glad that I'm cut.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to share
Although in
that
my case, way too much.
Took a little too much off the top.
Yeah.
I think the city, I've been to Honolulu. I got to tell you, it's like going to South Beach but replacing the Cubans with Japs. A bunch of obnoxious people. It's a terrible city. The rest of Hawaii, is wonderful, fantastic, Eden-like, but I tell you what, that
no more
city
Honolulu. I love the Waikiki
disgusting.
Beach, but it's so crowded there. You can't even. It took me like an hour to drive from the airport to the hotel to just forget about it. That's the last time I'm going. Okay, thanks. Honolulu, you got that? Are we putting these?
Yep.
Yeah, you got Jamaica on there. He's already got 3. Do not go to Jamaica, man. Believe me, if you want some good weed, come up here. Go to Vancouver. Go to Amsterdam. Norma Kent's going to Amsterdam. Not soon enough, though. 5670560. Hey, Norma.
You fairy.
And pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless line. I actually have the feeling, am I dreaming or what? I have the feeling like an out-of-body experience again today, like this isn't like really a show. It's kind of like a dry run, like a walkthrough, you know what I mean?
No.
I mean, George isn't there, and Miguel, and Josh, whatever his name is, he's not there, and we got this ball game coming up, and there's nobody in town. Now, how's the drive to work every day? Is it like pretty,
It's the same.
It's the same as usual?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Well, except for school's out.
Yeah. And you're telling me that most people are back in town now because the 4th of July is over? I think you're dreaming. Only in Sweetwater, your neck of the woods, right? Your people don't go anywhere.
They don't go anywhere.
They don't go anywhere unless they can float there on a
cube.
WQAM, hello. WQAM, hello.
Neil, what's up?
Yes, sir.
I would have to say Atlanta by far.
You went there on vacation?
Well, I had to go to
God.
a wedding up there, and
Yeah.
just the southern thing, it was just horrible.
Yeah, it's redneck heaven, man.
Yeah, I can't wait till we burn it down again. Bye, Neil.
Excellent idea.
Oh!
Let's get started. That was a good idea, you know. How's General Sherman doing? Is he still around? 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless line. Let's get Atlanta on there. That's a really peachy place. They got that Peachtree Street. It's an awful place. Anywhere in Georgia. Do not go in Georgia. Do not go to Aintree. Don't go to Macon. Don't go to Savannah. Although the golfers, of course, where is it? Augusta, right? Where they have the Masters?
See.
And what's the other place that's supposed to be? Savannah. Georgia is mugwump heaven, man. It's just grotesque. And, of course, if you want to go to those segregated senior proms, it's still not too late. You can find those all over Georgia. Not that they're living in the past or anything like that. You know that trial that they had in Mississippi? That killing guy? From the killing of the civil rights workers.
Right.
You'll notice that nothing has really changed there. I mean, they've changed some laws, and they try to, put on a good act. They're still the same bunch of mugwumps they always were. Racist, honky, cracker bastards is basically what they are. That's the Deep South for you. That's the U.S., eh? Only complaint I got here is, man, we got some of the smelliest people. Where do these people come from besides India? Wow. There was a guy sitting next to me at Woodbine the other day. I'm an old guy. I swear to you, if he ever saw a bar of soap, he never touched it. He may have looked at it he never took the wrapper off. Hey, before you use it, you're supposed to take the wrapper off, Pally. In fact, I think he was probably using that curry-flavored body wash.
Oh.
26 after 10. I'm serious. I was swooning. Oh, jeez. Please lose. And he didn't. He ran away. Thank God.
No, don't barf in my car. No, don't barf in my car. I wonder if we take a ride, are you gonna get car sick, baby? Car sick, baby. And if you're sitting next to me, will you hurl in my lap, baby? In my lap, baby.
Better take it easy. I'm getting queasy. That last bug really shook me. I'm about to toss my cookie. Don't get stuck behind that truck now, or you gonna see me up chuck now. It's coming, baby, can't stop it.
Why can't you wait?
Gonna need me for me.
I guess I should have left you home, 'cause there's a smell in my car, baby. A smell, baby. Next time you can take the bus and barf on the driver, baby. Driver, baby. No, don't barf in my car.
10:31, 29 to 11 at 560 WQM. It's the Marlin pregame warm-up show. At 12:30, you're going to hear that. Every time we do one of these early ball games, it's always giving me an excuse to play that. Oh, George gets upset because it's not the original. It's not Thin Lizzy, which you wouldn't know Thin Lizzy. But what do you know? You're almost as bad as Josh. Bush collides with police officer during bike ride. You see this?
I heard that, yeah.
I think this was an omen of things to come. President Bush collided with a British police officer during a bike ride last night, suffering scrapes on his hands and arms that required bandaging, White House spokesman Scott McClellan said. Boy, I sure got to bite my tongue real hard while I'm reading this, until it's bleeding. The officer from the Strathclyde Police Department in Scotland, I wonder if the police officer was wearing kilts at the time, was taken to a local hospital as a precaution. He was treated and released after an evaluation revealed no fractures, McClellan said. Bush visited with a police officer for some time after the accident and asked White House physician Dr. Richard Tubb to monitor his situation at the hospital, McClellan said. The president was expected to call the officer later and see how he'd be doing. Despite a steady rain and chilly temperatures, Bush, an avid mountain biker, went for a ride at the Glen Eagles Resort in central Scotland, where he and other leaders of the Group of 8 economic powers are beginning their two-day summit today. Lots of protests, lots of tourists, and then, of course, that big episode in London today. At least 40 people. It's got to be a lot more than that. A lot of dead people, a lot of wounded, injured, grotesque stuff going on. And that's because of the fine job that the Americans and British have done in fighting terrorism all over the world. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. You see the way those phones are smoking off the hook with all these vacation places that they're never going back to?
Mm-hmm.
Not. Well, it's not. Look, it's not. Maybe not be the most exciting, but it might be. Maybe that broad will call in that called in on Tuesday. Oh, this poll is boring. It's boring. I have never encountered. Although I shouldn't say that.
Yes,
because I understand why they're malcontent. You know, they're in South Florida. I understand why they're miserable and they're hateful and they're depressed and they're psychotic. I understand it. Here's line 9. It's our only call. QAM, hello.
Hey, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Hi. I haven't called you in a long time, but I got assigned a new phone, and that phone number is OJ's old phone number.
Really?
I'm freaking out.
How do you like that? We got an OJ story today, as a matter of fact.
It's really weird, because the guy says, hey, it's OJ, blah, blah, blah. Like, what OJ are you talking to?
Wow. Well, I ought to get you get some pretty good drugs.
Well, what I want to do is have change my machine, the answering machine, to I killed Nicole. I killed Nicole.
Okay. Excellent idea. In fact, just crank up your recorder. In fact, I'll find it here somewhere. We'll kill some good time. I know it's in here.
I killed Nicole.
There you go. Yeah, we got an OJ story. That was a good lead-in. See how everything kind of fits together. Now that they're calling, I don't want their calls right now. I'll take one. WQAM, hello.
Yes,
QAM.
Poll.
Yes, sir.
I live in Broward County, so I got to say Miami.
that may be the winner. Yeah, I like it. That's beautiful. Miami. Excellent choice. And Hialeah would be a good one on there, too. Stick them both on there, okay? I'm not going back there anytime soon.
Why would you? Who vacations in Hialeah?
Can I ask a stupid question? Today is... No, it's a vacation place that not ordinarily people in South Florida... Miami is.
Okay.
Hialeah is a joke, but Miami is certainly a vacation place.
Miami Beach, yes.
Miami or in other words, people don't go to Miami on vacation. You're dreaming, man. Of all people to be saying something outrageous, some commie pinko comment like that. There are people who go there. Why? I have no idea.
Yeah, there's nothing in Miami. Miami Beach, yes.
Now, what was I just going to ask something very important and slipped my mind? This last caller brought it to mind. It'll come back. A vacation place I visited but would never go back to would never go back to Dade County again, ever. If somebody held a gun to my head and gave me $4,000 in cash, I wouldn't go back. WQAM, hello.
Neil Rogers, please.
Speaking.
Neil, I have to comment about this most recent comment you made regarding Homeland Security and such.
Yeah.
Can you
Why does it sound like
if
such a fake call?
we weren't doing anything, what would be happening, sir?
Why does it sound like such a bad fake call? As it was. WQAM, hello.
Josh, I pray for your death every day.
I'm sure he's listening.
Josh isn't here today, and he's calling, making death threats. How do you like that? Probably one of his old boyfriends. WQAM, hello.
Hand me on pass.
WQAM, hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Neil, America was the last place to give up slavery. So how can they be the spokesman for freedom all over the world?
Yeah, good point.
Come on, man. Thanks a lot.
Well, yeah, but we're showing reruns of the Jeffersons. That's a start.
Yeah, I mean, they need to straighten up.
Okay, good luck to you, Pally. Quit belly aching. OJ Simpson's private life has once again involved the police. Did you see this story?
See.
Police called OJ's Miami home over domestic dispute. Now, that's one of the tourists. If you do come to Miami, maybe if you're listening right now, you're a tourist in South Florida, the first thing you ought to do is turn around and go back where you came from if you're smart. But the second thing is like, you know, when they go to Hollywood, they go to not Hollywood, Florida, but California. They get the map to the stars' homes, you know?
Right.
Well, you can get the map to Kendall, and you can find OJ's house. Simpson was at a suburban Miami home with girlfriend Christy Prody on the 4th of July when he asked his neighbor Steve Dockendorf to come over and jumpstart Prody's car. This is from the Channel 4 website, so consider that. Stories vary on what happened next, but Dockendorf called police and reported a fight. Police responded but said nobody was arrested, no charges will be filed. It was an accident, but nobody got hurt. Dockendorf said he called because Prodi was beating him and Simpson. I figured if I called the police, at least he has a record. He said he should have done that with Nicole, Dockendorf said Wednesday. Simpson couldn't be reached for comment Wednesday. His lawyer, Yale Galanter, would not comment. Dockendorf said Prodi and Simpson, who have had bumps in their relationship, were already arguing when he came over. Bumps in their relationships and maybe a few on their Haid. He said Prodi took items and a bottle of vodka from Simpson and started to leave, and when Simpson went to take it back, she lunged at him, ripping a necklace from his neck. He said she shoved her off Simpson, then she then attacked him. She broke a chain off his neck, 4 ounces of gold, said Dockendorf. Simpson did not touch Prodi during the entire incident, Dockendorf said. Prodi denied Dockendorf's version of events. I never touched him, she said of Dockendorf. He lied to police. Now, who would you believe, even though we have no idea who this guy is? Yeah, right. Prodi said the argument was between Dockendorf and herself and not Simpson. She said Dockendorf wouldn't give her back the car keys and she told him to leave. Dockendorf and Prodi, who accused each other of being on drugs, agreed that the incident is history. Oh, not somebody on drugs at OJ's house. How could we believe something so silly as that?
Nah.
Prodi said Wednesday that she and Simpson were laughing about it while Dockendorf speculated that in 2 weeks this will blow over. They'll be back together. This is nothing new. No, it's just par for the course, okay? Good old OJ. We hate you like poison, OJ, and we wish you'd die a wicked death, or at least trip and fall and break your neck while you're hopping over that hurt sign at the airport, since they don't advertise on this station yet. What have we got so far? A vacation place that I've visited but would never go back. Never! Detroit 34, and believe you me, well-deserved. A grotesque subhuman place. Los Angeles 27, Niagara Falls 19, Paris 15, Jamaica 11, man. Oh, what's wrong with Jamaica, man? It's a good machine, man. It's a good machine.
Right.
Oh, my God. What was that song by Harry Belafonte, Jamaica Farewell? Wasn't that the name of the song, Duff?
Yes.
Down the way where the nights are gay. That was the lyrics in that song. How do you like that?
You fairy.
Anyway, Jamaica 11. Am I right? Remember that song? What was the other Harry Belafonte? Banana Boat song.
Day-o.
There you go. Right. I think we got a whole bunch of, I'm sure we do in here somewhere, but I don't know what the hell they're called. Is it called Deo? No? I don't have time to look for it. During the break. Jamaica 11, Atlanta 7, Miami 6 already. We just put it on there. It's already got a 6. Don't go there. Don't go there if you take your life seriously. London 6, or if you speak English. Las Vegas 6, Hamburg 2, Honolulu's got 1, and Copenhagen doesn't have any. Well, they got a lot of 7-Elevens there, I'll say that, which we love 7-Eleven, but they got a lot of them there. I don't know where that came from. In between the last 2 times I was there, the second time ago there were none, and the last time I was there, like last year, every street corner's got another 7-Eleven. Which they got really good pizza in there. I know that sounds silly. They don't have pizza at 7-Eleven in the USA. No. Or here. But in Copenhagen, they got nice, I don't know what the hell that's all about. 20 before 11 at 560 WQAM. And by the way, Jacques Chirac, you're wrong about the Brits and the Finns. I guess he's never been to Amsterdam when he said that the Brits, the only place worse food was Finland. Maybe he only had the reindeer in Finland. They have some decent food there. But, man, Amsterdam, they got the world record. You know,
it puts the lotion in the basket.
This is Debbie.
Oh, hi, Debbie. I'm interested in getting some operations done.
Okay.
And some body contouring and some liposuction.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you get some tummy tuck and lip augmentation, cosmetic breast surgery, facelift, all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering...
What would you like to start with?
Well, I need to get everything done. Probably the first thing I'd like to have removed is my thing.
Okay, we don't do that.
No. Could you do breast implants, though?
It can be done, but I don't know that they would do it right away.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
5,000.
Excellent. I'd like to have my skin resurfaced, too.
Mm-hmm.
Laser surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Have the lambs stopped crying yet, Mommy?
Excuse me?
Don't hurt Mommy's little baby. It puts the lotion in the basket. I'd like to get the liposuction that I saw on TV.
Okay.
Can you make me look more like a woman?
Well, we'll have to see you first, and then upon looking at you, we can tell you that when we see you.
Should I wear my skin suit made of body parts, Mommy?
If you'd like to.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Would you like to make an appointment?
Yes.
Okay. There is a $100 consultation fee.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
My name is Buffalo Bill.
Okay, let me get a little
Mommy.
information from you, okay? Just one moment.
It
Right?
puts the lotion in the basket.
I understand.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Do you want to come in for a consultation for
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Okay. Would you like to make an appointment, or do you want to call me back?
It puts the lotion in the basket.
I understand.
I've got my skin suit nipple necklace.
Bill.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
I understand that. Would you like to
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Would you like to make an
It
appointment?
puts the lotion in the basket.
Okay, I will talk to you another time, okay?
It puts the lotion in the basket. Hello?
It's 30 a day plus gas.
Well, I rented Lincoln.
Cash or credit.
And I drove up in the hills.
You want the insurance?
And to recall how it happened, well,
good luck.
It still gives me chills.
What a weirdo.
Followed my map of star houses.
Yikes.
And was shocked to see sitting on her front porch was Angelina Jolie. Well, I walked up like I knew her.
Hey, do I know you?
And I saw her hesitate.
Hey!
But the chloroform started working then for her. It was too late. Put her in my car and rolled the windows down. Now she was my queen and I made her a crown.
Take the stupid crown off me!
And I've got Angelina Jolie in my basement.
I'm in the basement!
And I think I'll keep her there with me.
Hello?
And charge her rent.
I'm not paying rent.
Well, I hope she don't mind. I hope that she'll find that she likes the cement.
I'm in the basement!
How wonderful life is with Angelina Jolie in my basement.
Let me out of here!
Well, I'm schizophrenic, polar and manic, but I bet you'd give your last cent.
Help me!
To have Angelina Jolie locked down in your basement.
Don't hurt my dog.
I'll do it, mister!
Don't hurt Precious.
I'll hurt your dog, mister!
It puts the dog in the basket.
It's 10 before 11 o'clock at 560 WQAM. Yeah, I played all of that stuff because I saw that again last night. There are just certain movies when you come across them on cable and you just get hooked and you can't turn them off. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like The Godfather. How many times in the last 6 months have I seen The Godfather?
About 30,
Parts 1,
man.
2, 3, and 5. British police told the Israeli embassy in London minutes before today's explosions they had received warnings of possible terror attacks in the city, a senior Israeli official said.
Oi!
Israeli Finance Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu, had planned to attend an economic conference in a hotel over the subway stop where one of the blasts occurred. That's the British subway. And the warning prompted him to stay in his hotel room instead, government officials said. Foreign Minister Sylvan Shalom said he wasn't aware of any Israeli casualties. Just before the blast, Scotland Yard called a security officer at the Israeli embassy to say they'd received warnings of possible attacks, the official said. He didn't say whether the British police made any link to the economic conference. They're still thinking about it. You know, at Scotland. Remember that Inspector Lestrade in the Sherlock Holmes movies? Well, at Scotland Yard, if they're all like that, no wonder they couldn't figure it out. The official spoke on condition of anonymity because of the nature of position and because he wanted to stay alive. Things like that. Got some good news, though, for Geldy. Let's see, when do we have that twerp back on here again? Friday, tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 4. Because there's no Mo this week, okay? We got Geldy, no Mo. No Mo today because we got the Marlin game. So we got a lot of Geldy on, and I'm sure he's going to be really hockey intensive. That should be good to goose those numbers up. But the good news for him is the voice of the Panthers, NHL deal done, paper reports. The NHL and Players Association reached a tentative deal on it. In fact, we ought to check out what Leafs TV right now, shouldn't we? I bet you they're all over it like stink on Greg. Let's see. Let's take a look.
Now Sullivan moves up number 7.
Oh, my God. It's Fearless Foster Hewitt in a game from 150 years ago. We don't want to hear about that crap, Foster. What about on this channel, the NHL channel?
They look tired.
It's another stupid game between the Canucks And the the Flamers from Calgary. Don't you think that there ought to be like some hue and cry about that name, you know, the Canucks? There's always this big simus about the Cleveland Indians, the Atlanta Braves, and FSU, the Seminoles, and all that crap that goes on. What about the Canucks? To me, that was always kind of like a pejorative term, wasn't it? Like cracker, you dumb cracker, you redneck, you hillbilly. And what about you silly-ass Canuck? The NHL and its Players Association reached a tentative deal on a new collective bargaining agreement that, if finalized, would end a lengthy lockout. The LA Times reported today, and they actually printed it in English and not in Chinese or Vietnamese or Japanese or Korean. There had been several reports that a deal was imminent. And here's a picture of Gary Bettman. I still say he's a hook-nosed, stereotypical idiot. The newspaper, citing anonymous sources close to the negotiations, said the agreement will feature a hard salary cap linked to 54% of league revenue, a 24% rollback of existing contracts, and qualifying offers. It will also include a provision that limits the salary of any player to 20% of the team cap figure in any season. Let's see, 24% rollback in the salary. Duff is probably thinking about that now. The salary cap will be $37 million U.S. and won't include medical and dental benefits and pension payments, the Times reports. Details will be presented to the NHL Executive Committee in New York on Monday, and players will meet to decide whether to approve the deal. You better, you silly-ass bastards. Under the new agreement, or not, whatever, I don't really care. Under the new agreement, the league's All-Star Game will be dropped next season, and the players instead will be allowed to represent their home countries at the Turin Olympics next February, the Times said. See, they can't let go of that Olympic crap, so they stopped the season. And they scrapped the All-Star Game, which is fine because it's a silly game anyway. There's no checking. It's just, 18 to 15, something like that. It's crap. But they still have to go to that Olympic stuff so they can stop the season in midstream, which is really stupid. But at least they're consistent. Kind of like our management. Not good, but at least consistent. The new deal includes a provision under which 15% of each player's paycheck will go into an escrow account until the revenue is calculated after each season, the paper said. If league spending on salaries exceeds 54% of revenue, the difference between the salaries paid and the negotiated percentage will be paid to teams from the escrow account. If teams spend less than 54%, the escrow money will revert to players. Did you write that down on your wrist?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. The NHL became the first major pro sports league in North America to lose an entire season due to a labor dispute because you got greedy players and greedy owners and a bunch of teams that shouldn't be in the league in the first place, like the Panthers, for example. They've got no business being in the NHL. Oh, I forgot. That's right. We're the home of the Panthers. Is that deal done, by the way? Is it a done deal?
Yes, it is.
All right. We're the home of the Panthers. Like I said, they're one of the 10 teams that should be in the league. It's the Lightning, for Christ's sakes, just because they won the Stanley Cup. Screw them. They had their moment in the sunshine. To hell with them. And I still say, what do they got? How can they have that baseball team over there? That right there, if anybody doubts what I've been saying for 15 years, this expansion is greed in the markets where it's not possible to have a baseball team in Tampa. There's a bunch of mugwumps over there. How many people, what was the average attendance there, would you say, in Tampa?
About 30, man.
For baseball.
Nowhere near 30.
30?
He said about 30. It's nowhere near 30.
30 people. I'm not talking about 30,000.
Okay. 13,000 to be exact.
Is the average attendance?
This year so far.
And that again is the fake number that they put down. Keep that in mind. So divide by 4, subtract 2,000. That's the real number. Josh Cordes told me he was at a game over there earlier in the season, and that if there were, I don't know what it was, if there was like 1,000 people in there, he said it was a lot, including the ushers and the attendants and the people selling the crap and stuff. Unbelievable. That's Tampa for you. And, of course, they got Crystal, and they had Steak and Shake long before we got it, and they got Donatello's, and they got Manzuinas, and they got all kinds of good stuff over there.
And great Cuban food at the stadium.
And they got Burns Steakhouse. So what the hell's all that about?
When it comes to sports, we're the outdoors.
Look what we got.
Right. QAM.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions?
Now see here, I ain't never said no. I'm getting very annoyed about me saying doy. I ain't never said it. That they ought to pay me by the I'm getting tired of hearing it everywhere I go. You always say doors. Say sorry. From this one on, I will present my
It's 11:01 at 560 WQM. There he is, Squeaky himself, the voice of the Panthers. All right, he ought to be just dancing a Kazatsky at home, all whipped up into a frenzy. In fact, I bet he's going to be talking about that at great length on his show 2 to 4 tomorrow afternoon. That'll get that number down a little bit, just when you thought it wasn't possible. Anyway, if we had some bad news earlier about that bunch of explosions in London, and at least 40 people dead, it's going to be a lot more than that, over 1,000 injured, most of them very seriously, by the way. Al-Qaeda in Iraq said in a web statement today it has killed Egypt's top envoy in Iraq, posting a video of the blindfolded diplomat identifying himself. You know, before the Iraq attack, I don't recall hearing about any terrorism in Iraq. I could have, maybe I'm missing something. I don't recall hearing any news stories, reading anything, hearing anything, stepping on anything that said, hey, guess what? There's a bunch of terrorism going on in Iraq. We announced in the Al-Qaeda in Iraq, what does that mean? We announced in the Al-Qaeda in Iraq that the verdict of God against the ambassador of the infidels, the ambassador of Egypt, has been carried out. Thank God, a written statement in the web posting said. How do you like that? So now he's dead. There's a bunch of people in London dead, and it's a damn good thing that the Brits and the Americans are spending all of that time and money and putting all their soldiers, all their resources into Iraq, which, of course, had nothing to do with terrorism, nothing to do with 9/11, and nothing to do with Al-Qaeda or Osama Yamama. How we do? We got him yet?
No.
How about Al-Zarqawi? Good old Al. How we got Al yet?
No.
And what about Mullah Bullah Omar?
No.
And all these other ones? And Al-Zawahiri?
No.
We got any of those people? I just mentioned these things in passing. And I put on our website that documentary, and like I said, my timing couldn't possibly be worse. I bet you nobody has watched that thing yet. Did George talk about it yesterday? Do we know? I'm sure he did. I'm sure he leaned on it.
Possibly.
Maybe. See, that's the problem. And with all due respect to you guys, there is nobody there now who's associated with this show. I feel like I'm farting into a windstorm, with all respect, Joyce. I'd let you hear how that would sound, but of course we can't do that, no mo. But I have that feeling. But anyway, on our website, on neilrogers.com, it's the most important thing we ever put on there. I'm begging. I know you won't watch it, but at least I'm trying to do my part. It's the best documentary I've seen about this insanity, this bunch of madman fascists that are running the U.S. today, and about this whole phony war in Iraq. It's all there for you. It lays it right out there in front of your face. And about Prescott Bush and his financial aid to Hitler and the Nazis, and how he used, in one of his Polish companies, used slave labor from the Polish concentration camps. That was granddaddy, baby. And that was only the beginning. The World According to Bush, it's on there, parts 1 and 2. It's a 2-hour documentary. It was on the CBC last October. They repeated it Sunday night. I was lucky enough to find it. We stuck it on our website. Eric put a lot of hard work into it. Is anybody watching it? No, we got no nude pictures on there anymore, Neil. God. Talk about desperate. But then again, we've done these appearances over the years. We've met a lot of you folks, and we understand. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's desperate. A federal judge ordered New York Times reporter Judith Miller jailed for contempt of court yesterday for refusing to testify to a grand jury investigating the leak of a CIA operative's name. She was taken into custody immediately, if not sooner. How do you like that? That'll teach her to sell out, by the way, on the war. She's another one, even though this is not the appropriate reason to be putting her in jail. But just for being part of the bankrupt media, I guess, that's good enough. Serve you right, Judith, bitch. Miller faces up to 4 months in jail, the length of time before the term of the federal grand jury in the case expires. We have to follow the law, U.S. District Judge Thomas Hogan said, no relation to the unctuous John Hogan. If she were given a pass today, then the next person could say as a matter of principle, I won't obey the law because of the abortion issue or the election of a president or whatever. They could claim the high moral ground, and then we could descend into anarchy. Well, I thought we already had that. Time magazine reporter Matthew Cooper, who also faced jail time, was spared confinement after agreeing to testify. He was singing by the Parliaments, I Want to Testify. I've got that here somewhere. If you want to give me about a half hour to find it.
Go for it.
Now, Robert Kuttner writes in the Boston Globe. I wonder if he's getting to Mike Kuttner. He used to play for a Hurricane baseball team, you think? Politics taints probe of CIA leak, and most Americans with a brain, which is about how many of us? We want to know why Bob Novak isn't in jail yet. You fascist, you piece of turd, you. And not only that, why aren't the editors of the Washington Post, who are so busy beating their chest about Woodward and Bernstein and Watergate and Deep Throat, all of that crap, how come they're not in jail? Because the outing of a CIA operative is a federal crime. And all the newspapers that published that column, from the Chicago Sun-Times to the Washington Post, whoever's responsible for that, the editors and publishers, they ought to be in jail right there with Bob Novak. They ought to be on death row for high crimes and treason and misdemeanors. Robert Kuttner writes, and Miguel will get upset because I'm going to read a column here. Too bad. Bozo. And not only that, but of course, what does it have to do with Cuba? Something stinks to high heaven about sending New York Times reporter Judith Miller to jail. Miller refused to betray sources she interviewed in trying to learn who leaked the name of a CIA agent to conservative pundit Robert Novak. You fascist, you Nazi bastard, you liar! The backstory: on July 12, 2003, Novak published a column in the Washington Post blowing the cover of CIA operative Valerie Plame, citing two high administration officials as his sources. Plame's husband is former Ambassador Joseph Wilson, which if you watch the documentary, you'll understand the whole unraveling of that deal, what they did to him and why they smeared him and outed his wife, because that was payback for telling the truth about that yellow cake uranium that supposedly Saddam bought from Niger when they never made any such deal. So you come back to the U.S. and tell the truth, we're going to get you and your wife. How do you like that, Joe? Plame's husband is former Ambassador Joseph Wilson, who had undertaken a secret mission at the request of the CIA to investigate what proved to be a fake story about the government of Niger providing nuclear material to Saddam Hussein. The Niger story figured prominently in Bush's justification for war and his disparagement of UN weapons inspectors, including Hans Blix, by the way, even though it already had been disproven by Wilson's mission. Wilson, now retired, was so appalled at the administration's misuse of a discredited story that he went public with his information. Just like David Kay, by the way, the weapons inspector who resigned the day after they lied about his findings over there in Bush's last State of the Union address. The administration's leak to Novak outing Wilson's wife, Plame, was part of a clumsy campaign to discredit and punish Wilson. The administration line was that Plame supposedly suggested Wilson for the Niger assignment, though that allegation has never been confirmed. It is a felony for a public official to expose the identity of a CIA agent. After Novak's column was published, Democrats in Congress demanded and got the administration to name a special counsel to investigate the leak. Attorney General John Ashcroft recused himself. His deputy, named Chicago U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald, supposedly a man of high principle and unblemished reputation, supposedly being the operative word. Fitzgerald interviewed many people. He ultimately went after two reporters who had worked on the story of who had leaked to Novak. They were Miller of the Times and Matt Cooper of Time magazine, both now facing jails. Miller's already there, and the other one, of course, copped out as early as this week. This story was written a couple days ago. Both have refused to disclose sources despite court orders obtained by Fitzgerald. The Times has stood behind Miller. Time Warner Management last week shamefully caved in and turned over notes to the prosecutor. The Supreme Court has declined to review the case. But what about Novak? What about Novak? He obviously knows who leaked the name to him. Why is Miller, who never even wrote an article, going to jail? If anyone should be threatened with contempt of court, it is Bob Novak. There are only two possibilities. Either Novak did tell the prosecutor the names of the officials who leaked the name, and the prosecutor is going to go easy on them, or Novak refused and the prosecutor is going easy on Novak. Either explanation reeks of favoritism, selective prosecution, and cover-up, and both are unacceptable. One leading suspect of having leaked Plame's identity is the President's chief political advisor, Karl Rove. Given how utterly Machiavellian Rove is, readers who take press reports of Fitzgerald's pristine independence at face value are touchingly naive. Given the stakes, do you really think this administration would let a Justice Department official just pick some highly independent prosecutor to launch a wide-ranging probe, one that could let Annette Novak, a reliable administration toady, and the chummy high officials Novak talks to, say Rove or Vice President Dick Cheney? Nor is it an accident that this investigation, rather than... And by the way, speaking of Dick Cheney, wasn't it Dick Cheney last week who was telling us about the insurgency was like right in its death throes? It was like in the waning days, huh? It's waning over here? And everybody said, who said that? Nor is it an accident that this investigation, rather than fingering whoever inside the administration broke the law by outing Valerie Plame, is instead putting the squeeze on two news organizations that just happen to have been critical of the Bush administration, Time magazine and the New York Times, and by extension the entire press corps, which is what they do the best. Intimidate. There is no federal press shield law protecting the right of reporters to protect sources, though several states have such laws, and the Supreme Court in the 5-4 decision back in '72 rejected the contention that the First Amendment implicitly gives reporters immunity from betraying sources. As a result, Reporters remain vulnerable to selective prosecutorial harassment. In the past, the press has taken big risks to pursue the public interest and has resisted prosecutors' demands to betray sources. Some prosecutors and judges have trod lightly, balancing the First Amendment against other public imperatives, though others disdain the idea of journalistic privilege, and some reporters have indeed served jail time. This case is particularly outrageous because a partisan prosecutor is training his guns on the wrong culprits, because the whole affair smells of politics, and because the press as a whole has been far too intimidated instead of standing with the times and turning a bright spotlight on Fitzgerald and Bobby Novak. Bobby Novak, best known for saying, "Crossfire!" Isn't that what he's best known for? Not anymore, of course. Now that they finally spared us the pain and took that turkey off the air. I think CNN's going out of business. Wouldn't that be great? Let's hear it for CNN.
All right.
Out of business. They're sticking that CNN International crap on there like in the middle of the day to cut cutbacks. Judy Woodruff she made an exit, and the Bill Hummer. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
You fairy.
He made a quick exit all of a sudden.
Know whether or not this was suicide bombers or whether this was simply packages left on the bus and in the underground stations.
See, they don't know that. You remember you asked me before the show about that, Miguel, about whether it was like suicide bombers or whether just packages were left.
Cube.
You know?
Right.
They don't know yet. They don't know nothing, as a matter of fact. What part of the worst deal in this thing, just like when the second tower, when it wasn't evacuated on 9/11, the same kind of incompetence. There were subway trains that left the station after the first bombs went off. Wouldn't you have thought that they would have said, "Hey, everybody, stop all the trains and get everybody off"? Wouldn't you have thought that?
Nah.
Just like they would have evacuated all of the second tower at the World Trade Center instead of saying, "Oh, well, it's under control, everybody go back." Right. They are really doing it to us. 12 minutes after 11. Boy, I feel like I'm talking like extra duty here because we only have an hour and 20 minutes before that Marlin pregame show. That is going to be quite a game. Yeah. Do you believe me?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's pivotal. So let's see. What did Washington do last night? They were losing 4-3 when I watched it.
They lost.
They lost. So the Marlins are 7 out. See, I'm starting to pay some serious attention now. It's going to be like All-Star break, close to it. I'm starting to get a little bit on that baseball bandwagon. Plus, there's nothing else going on. It's pretty boring. Summertime blues.
They still have a shot.
We got a shot, baby. Washington's playing really good. They're like 18 or 19 games over 500. Who would have thought, huh? As people that ought to be shot say, who would have thunk it? And I do want to shoot anybody who says that. I can't stand that. And their broadcaster, Mel Proctor, man, now there's a guy. How come when he was available, the Marlins get this Rich Waltz guy who's like one step out of the Terry Schiavo state? They ought to get him a feeding tube or something. A dead man in a chair. And the Washington Nationals, they get Mel Proctor, who's just tremendous, excellent. But nevertheless, what do we know? It's 11:13 at 560 WQAM for you.
Radio is what the Q's for at QAM. Would do it, now it takes 15. I'm ready to say screw it, all this gasoline. Wish we didn't use it, I've got no cash, I spend it all on gas. Tank is empty, 'cause I got no gas. Can't fill up, gotta make it last. My gas gauge, it is so low. Greatest sin, I'm gonna need a tow.
11:19 at QM. What's with all those lines flashing all of a sudden? I haven't been paying any attention because I got like an agenda here today. WQAM, hello.
Al-Qaeda lover.
WQAM, hello.
Neil,
Yes, sir.
for the past 5 years, I've been eating breakfast at 7-Eleven and lunch at McDonald's.
Yeah, okay, congratulations. WQAM, hello. See, I knew that these calls were going to be good.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Great. Never better, Pally. The sun is shining, the sky is clear. It's a great day in paradise.
Yeah, and you're rich as hell. Listen, the reason Novak is not being persecuted is because he's already spilled the
Persecuted or prosecuted?
beans. Prosecuted. He should be persecuted, man. But the thing is that he's already spilled the beans. He was one of the first ones to testify. So I think what they're trying to do is corroborate what he said, you know? Because I'm sure he ratted out anybody, because that guy, the last thing he wants to do is go to jail.
Yeah. Oh, they'd have a good time with him in there, I'll tell you that.
Oh, they should. I'll even do something just to get in there and beat the hell out of him. Listen, I called a couple of days ago, and I kind of criticized George for playing music, but I didn't mean it that way, because what I like is when he talks, you know, when he does talk about religion and stuff like that. But when he plays that
You don't have
music...
to apologize for ripping at the crap he plays on the air. I understand, but, you know, I don't interfere. I let him do whatever he wants, because I appreciate the fact that I don't have to work all those days. So if he wants to, go for 4 hours, what do I care?
That's great.
Still beat the crap out of that juice and toast and omelet and spinach and frittata.
Listen, I have a question.
Lisa?
Where did I heard you talking about with Hank? Where is this myth that because we're here surrounded by the Spanish people that there's this fever about baseball? These people do not care about that.
Well, let me ask you, what is your ethnic background? You sound Hispanic to me.
Oh, I am. I'm from the Dominican Republic.
Oh, well, that's a horse of a different color.
No, and we like baseball, but I don't say that.
And the Dominican Republic does love baseball.
We have more players than any Latin American.
But let me ask you this: if you're so much into the baseballs, how come all those years you let the Haitians sow them? Yeah. Aha. Well, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, they work cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you in Bimini with Hannibal Lecter, Pally. See, I told you that place was in the Bahamas, Mon. You could see by the rampant poverty and the squalor. Oh, come to the Bahamas and plunge your guts out. Oh, you know something? The way things have been going lately, maybe that's not a bad idea. Our good friend Sean sends me some polls here. Thank you, Sean. Oh, who should have retired sooner? I'm certainly going to put me on that, believe me. Well, I think that with all these rumors I'm hearing about the other place being sold. 5670560, pound 560 in the Verizon Singular Wireless lines. Nothing to get people more whipped up in this business than say, oh, the station's being sold. Then any station like Exxon, Mobil, Amoco. And all of a sudden, you know who used to be best at that? Petey Lenny. Every 2-3 days, he had another story about we were being sold to this one, to CBS. Remember that?
Yes.
Every other day, another story. Hey, Petey, you jackass, you
fairy.
WQAM, hello. Good one. WQAM, hello.
You people more whipped up.
WQAM, hello. I don't have a lot of time.
Neil, I got the worst city for you. I had to go to a business meeting in St. Louis.
The worst what? City?
St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, that's a toilet. That's a dump.
That was the worst place I've ever been in.
Okay, well, get it on there. Thanks. Yeah, don't anybody go to St. Louis. I can't imagine what anybody would go on vacation to St. Louis for, though. Can you?
No.
See the Cardinals? Cardinals are red hot. Cardinals and the White Sox, baby. That's where it's at. Oh! And the Nats. The Washington Nats. Yeah, in St. Louis, the humidity there is 140%. That's like only in the middle of June. Forget about now. And the mosquitoes are as big as bowling balls. That is a nasty-ass place, St. Louis. Line 9, QAM, hello.
Yes, Neil. Is this Neil speaking?
Yes, it is.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Yes, I have a comment to make on these recent attacks on London. I wondered if you coincide with me on this.
Well, we'll find out.
This is my personal belief, and I'm probably going to get hounded by Homeland Security here, but I think it's from within, like I've heard on your station before. I think the enemy is from within. I think this might be bottom line, it could be a conspiracy theory. You might think I'm crazy, but I honestly believe it is to drum up support for.
Well, this isn't going to drum up any support. What are you talking about? I mean, 9/11.
Well, sure it will.
How is it going to drum up support for what?
It'll drum up support for Bush's operations in the Middle East.
Absolutely not.
Why is that?
Because there's going to be a lot more spotlight on the fact that we've been wasted spinning all of our wheels in Iraq while the real terrorists are still on the loose, and we haven't done any kind of a job in getting the masterminds of all these attacks. I don't see how it's going to drum up any support.
Well, because it'll
have a bunch more innocent dead people.
I'll tell you why. Another reason it drums up fear, Mr. Rogers.
Well, there's no question about that. That's the whole game plan, is to keep the people scared. There's no question about that.
The fear's very powerful. I honestly believe that now. My right-wing friends think I'm crazy. But
well, if you have right-wing friends, maybe you are crazy. Good luck to us, Pally. Hang in there. See, I'm one of those people. Call me a hard ass. Call me whatever you want, or a whole ass. I don't care. But I do not associate with people who are like these real right-wing, rabid, crazy people. Like George always says, I get nervous around crazy people, which is one of the good reasons that I'm not in that building anymore. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon, not to mention any names, and singular wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
Hey, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Great.
Great. Neil, listen, I heard you this morning about the Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
At the end of that show, that street that he's walked along, that's the only street that's on that island, but that is Bimini.
No. Bimini in the Bahamas?
Yes, sir. It's just right off.
Damn. So in other words, I was right again, huh?
Yes, sir. And for OJ out in Kendall, there's a fate worse than death. May he move next door to Gilbert.
Yeah, there you go. In fact, I think we ought to tie him up in a broom closet and just play, just like in A Clockwork Orange, okay? Tie OJ in a broom closet and put that on real, real loud. Yeah. 26 past 11 if I'm only an hour away from, oh man, Marlins baseball. That's where it's at. Right. What day is the book coming out, Duff, whatever your name is? Whatever phony name you're using this week. What week is the book coming out?
July the 27th.
The 27th. Well, let's see. What day of the week would that be? Today's the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, the 28th, Wednesday.
I think you should come in and work special that day for Wednesday.
No. In fact, maybe I'll take off that Thursday, too, now that I'm thinking about it. What a shame, too, because I think the 29th starts my vacation. So I'm thinking right now, let's see, I could actually, what day is it, the 27th? Let me work on that. 26 after...
What?
I just don't think I want to be there for this book, if you catch my drift. You know, I think it's going to be a real barn burner.
That was funny.
Did I say 11:26 and the ball game is just the pregame show is only an hour and 4 minutes away? Now, let me just suggest this to you people out there that I can't get to watch that documentary, The World According to Bush, because it's so damn long. While you're listening to the Marlins game on QM, is it a televised game today or not, or shouldn't we say?
It's probably televised, yeah.
Oh, damn it. Well, while you're listening to the game on QAM, sit there by your computer, because you can easily do that unless, you go into a coma listening to Dave. But every now and then, that voice will come on, and it'll wake you up again. So it's like a good balance there. It's like the yin and the yang. We got Dave and Boring, but then we got Foxy Roxy Man, who squeaks you back to the wake again. While you're doing that, watch this thing, please. Please. You won't, but I'm begging. 27 after 11 at 560 WQM.
Here's what people are saying about ABC's mysterious new drama, Lost.
What is with the people on the island? A dead guy comes back to life. A guy in a wheelchair can suddenly walk.
Yeah, and don't forget the kidnapped girl who reappears out of nowhere.
And what was that?
Oh, that's the polar bear.
Polar bear? This is a tropical island?
Or maybe it's not, because it's not just the passengers who are lost. It's everyone who watches the show.
Don't ugly people have mysterious secrets? Everyone is so good looking.
Oh, you forgot the fat guy.
Oh, yeah. Hey, what if he's the polar bear?
Oh, what if the polar bear is a hallucination?
Or a flashback.
Or a flashback of a hallucination.
Or maybe the show's writers are just as lost as everyone else.
What is the announcer talking about?
He could be a hallucination.
Or a flashback.
You're both wrong. I'm the polar bear.
28 till noon, man. I'll tell you, we better speed it up. There's El Presidente standing behind Tony Blair looking like a mannequin in Madame Tussauds.
Or human life.
There you go.
Well, there goes the cable.
This is what is that?
Here it goes. Lost my cable there for a minute.
Your cable went out? It's not storming, is it? Because we got that ball game coming up. The report I had was that it's just fine as GI wine.
I don't know. Let me look out the window.
Go look out the window and see what it's like.
Beautiful outside.
It's beautiful, man. Get out to the ball game. You got no excuses today. Go out there and kill a couple of hours, okay? Have some of them marginal hot dogs. Have some of that marginal food at the stadium. Oh, I'm sorry. It's great. We love it. Little Kim sentenced to a year, and I can't believe that they took the Carvel out. Was that a true story, or did somebody? I forget the outcome of that.
I don't know. Here comes stuff again.
We had a discussion about that. What they really need is a Cold Stone Creamery there. Just don't get the cake batter ice cream because then you'll be puking all over the first baseline.
What happened was sponsors changed.
Yeah. So what ice cream have they got in there now?
Edie's.
Like I said, let's get... Edie's. Wow. I thought you said they had ice cream. Little Kim sentenced to a year and a day in prison, $50,000 fine for lying to grand jury. That'll teach that bitch. Grammy-winning rapper Little Kim was sentenced yesterday to a year and a day in prison and fined $50,000 for lying to a federal grand jury to protect friends involved in a 2001 shootout outside a Manhattan radio station. You know, this whole idea about gangster rap, I was thinking, I was sitting on the throne the other day, and of course, when you're on the throne, your mind starts racing in all kinds of directions, mostly downhill. And I started thinking about this whole concept of the media legitimizing gangster rap. Well, what is that? You know? I mean, suppose like Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet were singing records 50 years ago about killing people, about shooting each other. Is that what you call progress? Motown, were any of those songs about killing people?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, Motown.
Oh, well, look what happened to Marvin Gaye. Nevertheless, that'll teach him to be gay. While many rappers have served time in prison, Little Kim is the first big-name female to do so. She's in there rapping it. Little Kim, whose real name is Kimberly Jones, could have gotten up to 20 years, 5 years each on 3 counts of perjury, 1 count of conspiracy at her sentencing before U.S. District Judge Gerard Lynch. She was convicted of the charges in March. Year and a day in prison and $50,000 in cash. Small potatoes. Speaking of small potatoes with a big ass, judge gives Limbaugh medical records to investigators. A judge yesterday gave some of Rush Limbaugh's medical records to prosecutors, allowing their long-stalled investigation into whether the conservative commentator, the hypocrite, the phony, baloney, pill-popping right-wing jackass, illegally purchased painkillers to move forward. Circuit Court Judge Thomas Barkdall III also returned some of Limbaugh's records to his attorney, Roy Black. Black had argued that the judge should limit the records prosecutors can review because they contain privileged, even embarrassing details about medical procedures, symptoms, and other issues that were unrelated to the criminal investigation. Now, what could that possibly be all about? Embarrassing...
This is Rush Limbaugh, servant of humanity, talk show host, hemorrhoid sufferer. Folks, at over 300 pounds, I know the agony of this kind of dilemma. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you there's help. With new Preparation Rush and my Rush to Excellence suppositories. Now you can end the pain and itching of hemorrhoidal tissue. Just look for my picture on the box of suppositories and the applicator tube. Another fine product from OIB, the Obesity in Broadcasting Network.
Did that man say
tube?
I think he did. Pop a couple of more, Rush. You phony, you finger-pointing hypocrite, man. There's nothing worse than a hypocrite, especially a right-wing hypocrite, but I apologize for my redundancy. After a hearing yesterday, Black said he believed the records given to the Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office would not support a criminal charge against his client. Limbaugh's maintained his innocence throughout the investigation, which became public in November 2003 after investigators used search warrants to seize his medical records. The records show that Mr. Limbaugh received legitimate medical treatment for legitimate medical reasons, Black said in a statement. Prosecutors have said the records will prove that Limbaugh engaged in doctor shopping or illegally deceiving multiple doctors to receive overlapping prescriptions. The review of those records now goes forward in earnest, despite the many efforts to derail the investigation over the past 19 months, the State Attorney's Office said yesterday in a statement. The records remain sealed since investigators seized them in 2003. Limbaugh lost at the circuit and appellate court levels, and the Florida Supreme Court declined to hear the case. But his appeal successfully put off the investigation for more than 19 months while his hearing came back. Remember, they actually had to do an operation to, open up his eardrums again because he was all the callers, huh? What? What is it? And then, of course, then we find out the OxyContin, one of the side effects from popping all of them pills, is loss of hearing. Must have just been a coincidence, wouldn't you think? What? Prosecutors seized the medical records after learning that Limbaugh received about 2,000 painkillers from 4 doctors in 6 months at Palm Beach Pharmacy near his oceanfront mansion. On Wednesday, Black said... Oh, no! On Wednesday, Black said only 1,863 of the pills Limbaugh received were painkillers, and they were to be taken over a period of 217 days, which equals the lawful dose, averaging out to more than just 8 pills a day. Limbaugh's accused Palm Beach County State Attorney Barry Krischer, a Democrat, of a fishing expedition that's politically motivated. Limbaugh acknowledged an addiction to pain medication, attributing it to severe back pain, and took a 5-week leave from his afternoon radio show to enter rehab in October 2003. Not long enough. Liar, lunatic, maniac. But here's some good news. And, well, that's actually good news, too, the fact that the judge says the records are out. Here's some even better news. A Kentucky judge has provisionally approved the largest payout yet in the U.S. Catholic Church abuse scandal. Oh! All right. In Kentucky, I guess a few of them priests got lucky in Kentucky, huh? Sound like it. And there's a couple of other words that go along with that, but Joyce certainly would not approve. The settlement between a diocese and the state and an unknown number of sexual abuse victims amounts to a record $120 million. Those of you suckers that keep going to church on Sunday and putting your money in the plate, this is what you're subsidizing. You're paying off for all of these child molesting priests. That's what you're subsidizing. The most corrupt institution on the face of the globe. The class action suit accused the church of covering up child abuse by priests and others over 50 years. The scandal has cost the church more than $1 billion in payouts since 1950 now. More than $1 billion. You know, it's really interesting, all those people singing at that big Live 8 crap over the weekend, trying to raise the attention of the G8 and the this 8 and everybody else ain't eating over there in Africa, and trying to help raise a few bucks. There's $1 billion